Right now at 6, authorities charge a man in connection with a 2024 murder in Jasper County.
And we've got a few clouds, beautiful sunrise this morning, and temperatures getting a little hotter outside. Look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, Kansas strengthens its move over law after hundreds of roadside collisions.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Snowe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Wednesday, July the 2nd, and getting that much closer, of course, to the 4th holiday.
Yes.
Make sure you're ready to go. Got everything you got ready to go as well.
About that time, yeah.
It is about that time again, and of course, celebrate safely.
Yes,
I saw a thing on Facebook, and honestly, it is sadly a fact. There's somebody in America right now who has no idea that by Saturday morning they will not have all 10 of their fingers. Because these accidents do happen, and so you've got to be safe.
When you put it like that, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, honestly, though, unfortunately, somebody's going to make a mistake, but
Certainly,
don't make mistakes.
No.
Be safe, and be safe in the heat. You want to stay hydrated as temperatures continue to climb across the area. We're going to start, of course, that look outside downtown Pittsburgh. There's the sun hiding off there in the distance, getting ready to rise above the tree line. Got some partly cloudy skies, even in some cases, like you see here in Pittsburgh, mostly clear skies. MoDOT camera 20th and range line in Joplin also looking pretty good this morning. We do have the fog tracker out again because we do have some patchy fog. So again, Bentonville has fine visibility at this point, but eastern Benton County now creeping into parts of McDonald and Berry counties. We do have some denser fog out there. Of course, we have some reduced visibility, Stockton Lake back toward Nevada, and of course around the Grand Lake area that stretches back east into parts of McDonald County as well. So low beams, not your high beams. Slow down. Give yourself time to get wherever it is you may be going. All right, today, like yesterday, partly cloudy skies, except the winds are expected to be calm or at most light and variable. So we're going to start to feel a little hotter out there, but we should remain dry for today. Tomorrow kicks off our pop-up storm chances. We'll talk about that a little later. 64 in Joplin right now. Take a look at this. 62 in Pittsburgh. Our average lows are into the upper 60s, and many of us are still below average out there. Nevada looks to be the cool spot up there at 61. The warm spot right now in the Wada at 68. So, and the thing is, the warm spot is actually the closest to average for temperatures right now. Most of us in the low to mid 60s. So not a bad way to start the second day of July. Making it up mid 70s by 9, low 80s by noon, upper 80s where our highs are headed today. Partly cloudy for most of the day, and then late afternoon, early evening, skies will begin to clear out before we see clouds return again tomorrow. With those pop-up storm chances, we'll go over all of that and, of course, talk about the 4th of July forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
Chris, thanks. Well, a beloved member of the Neosho Police Department has died. The Neosho community mourns the loss of former police chief Jason Baird. Now, Baird served the Neosho Police Department for nearly 30 years. The loss comes after Baird's recent retirement from the force. Now, in a statement, the Neosho Police Department says, in part, quote, Chief Baird's untimely passing is a tremendous loss to our community. While his retirement was brief, his legacy is vast, and it continues to inspire those who worked alongside him and those he served. Our hearts go out to his family, friends, and all who mourn him. The department says details regarding memorial services will be shared as they become available. A Joplin man is charged with murder after a shooting involving his coworker at work over a year ago. Authorities arrested Alex Vega Monday night on a no-bond arrest warrant. Prosecutors charged Vega with second-degree murder and armed criminal action for a March 2024 shooting. Investigators say Vega got into an argument with Travis Wyrick at their job at Hillbilly Pumping and Hauling. Vega allegedly went inside the office, then back out to his truck. That's when investigators say he grabbed an AR-style rifle and shot Wyrick 3 times. Vega is currently in the Jasper County Jail, held without bond. And a serious rollover crash on Missouri 171 has put a person in the hospital. The crash happened around 7:40 yesterday morning. Troopers say a car left the road and struck a large MoDOT sign, then went up the embankment to the HH overpass. The car struck concrete, then overturned as it came down the embankment. The driver was rushed to an area hospital with serious injuries. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, Kansas drivers should be aware of changes to the state's move over law that took into effect yesterday. It's one of more than 100 new laws going into effect in Kansas. The move over law previously required drivers to slow down or move over a lane for emergency tow and utility vehicles. Now the law requires drivers to move over if possible and slow down when passing any car with hazards or warning signals. The Kansas Department of Transportation reported that almost 1,000 empty vehicles were struck on the side of the road from 2018 to 2023. Now, it's a problem the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office hopes the law change will address.
Parked vehicles, unoccupied vehicles have been getting hit roadside, or vehicles that have been occupied. We definitely want everyone to feel safe while they're out here on the roads for Cherokee County, and we want everyone to be operating their vehicles in accordance to law.
The Cherokee County Sheriff's Department says drivers will now face a $75 fine if they fail to move over or slow down to a safe speed. Well, KOAM will be hosting its Great American Flag Swap today in Joplin. You can find us at Arvest Bank on East 32nd Street starting at 9 a.m. Bring your old tattered flag and replace it with a brand new one free of charge. All the old flags will be properly retired. As Independence Day approaches, a lot of fire departments in our area and across the nation are struggling to find enough volunteer firefighters. VolunteerFirefighter.org says the shortage is especially notable in rural areas. The Girard, Kansas fire chief says volunteers help ease the load for the whole team.
Our department here, our run volume is up this year from last year. Due to, a lot of it's medical calls that we've increased. With our staffing and stuff, like now our department, we run a lot of EMS calls within the city here.
The fire chief wants to urge residents to ensure all fireworks are properly extinguished. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. GameStop agrees to pay a multi-million-dollar lawsuit settlement over claims it shared customers' personal information without consent. Plus, weather delays shake up Capitol Hill as lawmakers race to vote on President Trump's spending bill. And we have another hot and partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Morse Park, located in Neosho, Missouri. Well, topping Nation Watch, if you bought a video game from GameStop in the last 5 years, listen up. You may be entitled to a cash payment or credit in the settlement of a recent lawsuit. The electronics and game store giant has agreed to pay $4.5 million in a suit alleging customers' personal information was shared without consent. The suit claimed sensitive information was shared to Facebook through Metapixel. That's a tool marketers on the platform use to curate ads and content for users. If customers had a public Facebook profile at the time of purchase from GameStop's website, they could be entitled to compensation. This morning, flight delays due to weather has House lawmakers scrambling back to the Capitol to take up the Senate's updated version of President Trump's massive spending package. The bill extends the president's 2017 tax cuts and increases border and defense spending while including deep cuts to health programs. But projections that the Senate's bill adds another $1 trillion to the deficit compared to the version the House passed in May could signal a bumpy road for the bill ahead of the president's July 4th deadline. CBS News' Jared Hill has more from New York.
Beautiful bill this week.
For House lawmakers,
I'm going to have one big, beautiful road trip.
A race back to Washington for a vote on President Donald Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill. Tuesday,
the vice president votes in the affirmative. The bill as amended is passed.
With 3 Republicans voting no, it narrowly cleared the Senate. The president's signature legislation would extend $4.5 trillion in tax cuts, while adding new tax relief on tips and overtime pay. It also cuts roughly $1 trillion from healthcare programs like Medicaid and is estimated to add trillions to the deficit. Early this morning, the House Rules Committee adjourned after a marathon debate.
This bill gets Americans back to winning again.
If this ugly bill passes, it's going to get a lot uglier when people realize what's in it.
House Republicans also slamming Senate changes.
I'm against this because what the Senate did, I'll vote against it here, and I'll vote against it on the floor until we get it right.
On Fox News, House Speaker Mike Johnson acknowledged a bumpy road ahead.
Getting it done by July 4th will be purely poetic and perfect for all of us.
President Trump yesterday showed optimism.
We had a big day today. The bill passed, and I think it's going to do very well in the House.
He's expected to speak to lawmakers over the next couple of days to shore up more support. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Now, the House is set to take up the latest Senate-passed version of the massive GOP spending package as soon as today. Yesterday, the president posted a message on social media to House Republicans that read, quote, "Stay united, have fun, and vote yay." Well, still to come, a new study reveals that exposure to pollution can hurt your overall heart health. Plus, Chris returns with another look at your Wednesday forecast. You're watching the KOA Morning News. We'll be right back. It can be a stressful time for animals living in shelters as they wait for a forever home. Now, one young musician is rounding up volunteers for his expanding nonprofit to play some soothing tunes for the future pets. Tristan Cecil reports from Denver.
I find it really touching that my music is being able to make such a difference for the animals. They honestly don't care who you are, they just care that you're doing something good for them. That's all that matters.
12-year-old Yuvi Agarwal is combining his love for animals with his love for music to help shelter pets across the nation.
My son has been an animal lover all his life. So once when I took him to read to the animals at a local animal shelter in Houston, he was like, "Mama, can I come and play music for them?"
That's how Yuvi, then just 10 years old, started Wild Tunes. The nonprofit brings together volunteers to play music for the animals.
This is generally a high stress environment for them, and music has been clinically shown to reduce that stress, and it also helps them rebuild their bridges with humans, and it helps them get adopted faster.
In 2 short years, Wild Tunes has grown to more than 100 volunteers across 3 states, with the newest addition of Colorado.
It gives me goosebumps. He's really been a trailblazer in that sense. So I'd like to be in as many states as possible over the next 5 years.
Yuvi calls it a win-win for the animals, for the staff, and for the musicians. But for him,
honestly, making a difference in the animals is the best part.
Kirsten Susel, CBS News.
Very impressive. Let's head over now to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got a beautiful sunrise out there, as you can see from our camera at 7th and Rangeline. Temperatures will be heating up today. We'll have another full look at your forecast and talk about the 4th of July forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOA Morning News. 6:20 now on this, almost 6:21 rather, on this Wednesday morning. Starting again with the fog tracker. Got some dense fog eastern Benton County, starting to stretch up into parts of McDonald-Berry counties out there. Reduced visibility Stockton Lake back west toward Nevada and of course around the Grand Lake area as well. Not as dense as what we saw yesterday, but still want to slow down. Low beams, not your high beams, and do watch out for the potentially patchy areas of dense fog that you could run into on your morning commute. Otherwise, once we clear past that, we've got partly cloudy skies today. Will remain dry, and then by late afternoon, early evening, skies will actually begin to clear, and we'll have clear skies overnight tonight. Winds will be light and variable through the day. They'll pick up a bit out of the south tonight into tomorrow at about 5 to 10, and then we start to see those pop-up storm chances building back in. What's a little unusual in this case of the pop-up storm chances, again, they usually feed on the heating of the day and don't really develop till afternoon, early evening. But we could see a few isolated or even widely scattered showers, thunderstorms as early as even 5 a.m. tomorrow. So we'll see exactly how that pans out. But we'll have those chances really just about anywhere across the area. Again, of course, with pop-up storms in the future track, since there's not a specific trigger for them, The fact that it's showing the rain is just indicating that it's going to be a possibility, but bear in mind, even if you don't see one of those little pop-up storms in your area, it doesn't mean you couldn't still see one as we roll through the day tomorrow. And that chance will return again by Friday afternoon. South winds will continue. So for the 4th, this is one of those things like we talked about. You don't want to cancel your plans, but you do want to have kind of a backup or an alternative place to go just in case you get caught under one of these pop-up thunderstorms, and you don't want yourself getting wet, your family, the grill, your fireworks, anything like that. And additionally, with these thunderstorms, they typically bring some lightning. The lightning can be dangerous as well, so that's why you want to have a good, safe place to go. So just remember, when thunder roars, head indoors. Now, some good news. These pop-up storms, of course, will start losing them with the heating of the day as the sun goes down. And so we should be just about done with them in time for most of us to be dry as we head into the late evening hours on the 4th, so we can set off some fireworks and enjoy them without any rain. In fact, we'll actually still be pretty warm by the time it's time to set off those fireworks. Tomorrow by noon, already mid-upper 80s, because we start to see our temperatures climbing. So we're going to see more upper 80s and low 90s, and that trend will continue for the foreseeable future as well. That will also lead to our overnight lows starting to climb a little above normal once again. For the 4th, it'll be hot out there, upper 80s, low 90s, and you can see even by 5, still pretty toasty. And by the time we get to about fireworks time, we should be hanging out in the low to mid 80s, maybe some upper 70s here and there. So again, not too bad. Warm for sure, but not too bad. A pretty nice evening out there for fireworks. Sunrise again looks great from 7th and range line. Got some partly cloudy skies here and there, and that's how our day is. About 70 to start and low 80s by 11 o'clock this morning. Highs this afternoon pretty close to normal. We're going into the upper 80s, and again, winds will be calm or light and variable at best. And as I mentioned, skies should clear as we head into the evening and overnight hours, and temperatures tonight near normal into the upper 60s with that south breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Today is really the only day we don't have pop-up storm chances. We're going to start to see the heat increase. We're start to see humidity levels increase a bit. It's going to get a little muggy out there, and that's going to be the fuel for these guys. So starting tomorrow, pop-up storm chances, they'll run all the way through next week. Temperatures will be hanging out into the upper 80s and low 90s for the next several days as well. That's checking your forecast. We're going to send it over to Elise now with Health Watch.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, exposure to pollution doesn't just damage your lungs, but your heart as well. A study published by the Radiological Society of North America found people exposed to air pollution over a long period of time had scarring on their heart tissue, which is an early warning sign of heart failure. Common sources of pollution include vehicle exhaust, industrial emissions, and wildfire smoke. And eating inflammatory foods while pregnant could raise the risk that a child will develop diabetes. A study published by the British Medical Journal looked at expectant mothers who ate inflammatory foods like red and processed meat, sugary drinks, and deep fried foods, and found that a diet heavy in these foods can raise the risk of a child developing type 1 diabetes by as much as 16%. And a warning from doctors: older women are still at risk of developing cervical cancer caused by HPV. A study published by the British Medical Journal showed that despite younger people being at greater risk, women over 65 are still developing HPV-linked cervical cancer. Now, most guidelines recommend not screening for HPV in older women, but researchers say those guidelines may need to be revised. That's a look at some of today's top health stories this morning. Stick around, we'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, Pitt State gets ready for its second annual Hispanic Music Festival.
And we've got a nice start to the day. Beautiful sunrise out there. Temperatures, though, beginning to heat up. A look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, Girard's Liberty and Lights celebration brings families together for music, food, and fireworks at the fairgrounds.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:29. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Tuesday. No, it's not. It's Wednesday, July the 2nd. It's because the first, is supposed to fall so close to Monday that it really throws things off. It's Wednesday,
yes,
though.
It does.
July the 2nd, getting closer to the 4th. And many of you out there probably have a short work week.
Right.
So just make sure you celebrate responsibly and safely.
please.
That way we can see you back here Monday morning, bright and early as well. And we still got to get through, at least for some of you, again, a couple of more days of work out there. That's going to start to heat up across the region starting today, but it'll be seasonably hot, at least for us today.
Which is manageable for sure.
Right. It's better than it's soaring into the triple digits. Let's start with that look outside in downtown Pittsburgh. Sun is rising. We got just a few clouds here. Now, from the Pittsburgh camera, as you can see, we've got pretty clear skies. From our camera at 7th and Rangeline, saw there's a few clouds, and that's really how our day will be. 20th and Rangeline, MoDOT camera located there, looking back to the north, looking pretty good as well as folks starting to get their day underway. And we also have some patchy fog again. We do have some, Pittsburgh, it's very slightly reduced visibilities, but we've got it, of course, around the Grand Lake area, stretching to parts of McDonald County, eastern Benton County, and parts of McDonald-Berry County. So that's where our densest fog is. And then we've got some fog around the Stockton Lake area back west toward Nevada. So again, slow down, low beams, not your high beams, and do watch out for the possibility of some of those rapidly changing visibility conditions. By noon, partly cloudy skies. Winds today will be calm or light and variable, so we won't really notice them all that much, but there might be a light breeze. Partly cloudy skies continue, and then by late afternoon, early evening, skies will actually clear out, and we'll have clear skies overnight tonight. Temperatures this morning, many of us below normal. Average lows upper 60s. In fact, should be about 69, 68, right around there. We're at 64 in Joplin, 62 in Pittsburgh, and across the area. Take a look at some of these temperatures this morning. A decent start. In fact, all of us below normal right now in the low to mid 60s. Starting to see some upper 60s here and there down to the south. But again, not a bad start considering it's the second day of July. You can get to the 4th and have temperatures into the triple digits easily. Thankfully, doesn't look to be the case, but it is going to start to get a bit muggier, and we'll talk about that in a moment. As for today, about mid-70s by 9, low 80s by noon, upper 80s are where our highs are headed. Average highs about 88, 89, so we're going to be right about where we should be. And then skies clearing later this evening with those light and variable winds out there. As I mentioned, though, our temperatures begin a slow climb, which is good. They don't skyrocket on us. But humidity levels begin to build, and we start to see those pop-up storm chances increase. We're going to have a full look at your forecast, talk about that, and, of course, the 4th here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. So the Missouri Department of Conservation says it's the time of year to be aware of wild hemlock. Now, it's potentially dangerous to humans, pets, and livestock. The plant toxins can be absorbed into the skin and affect the nervous system. It's a concern for ranchers because it can be poisonous even after it's cut.
It can also, once you cut it for hay, it can remain poisonous in a bale of hay all through its life cycle. So if it was ingested in a bale of hay, it could also still be poisonous. So most generally there's enough other grasses that they don't bother the hemlock. They will lay in it and smash it down sometimes under these trees, but most generally they don't bother it.
Well, experts go on to say you should never burn or compost hemlock. And now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free, the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. The Kiwanis Club of Joplin is launching a patriotic flag display subscription program. A donation of $50 will get you a flag and pole placed in your yard for 5 patriotic holidays like the 4th of July. Local Boy Scouts will help hang and take down the flags, and you have the option to keep them up all year. The Kiwanis Club will also replace any faded or damaged flags. All proceeds from the subscription service will stay local and help fund the organization's various programs helping underprivileged children.
Where the funds are going to, and the fact that the flag, I mean, nothing's more important than the patriotism and the love of liberty that we have here in this country.
The Kiwanis Club has a goal of placing 1,000 flags across the area. They say the program isn't limited to Joplin. They're willing to place them in Webb City, Carterville, and any other nearby towns. You can learn how to sign up on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. And KOAM will be hosting its Great American Flag Swap today in Joplin. You can find us at Arvis Bank on East 32nd Street starting at 9 a.m. Bring your old tattered flag and replace it with the brand new one free of charge. All the old flags will be properly retired. Well, Pitt State invited the public out to learn more about the upcoming Hispanic Music Festival. The university says the festival has grown with 9 total concerts in 5 different locations, including the Bicknell Family Center for the Arts and Memorial Hall. Now, for one organizer, the event serves as a perfect way to share and learn from other cultures.
We show who the artist will be, when the concert will be, and then different collaborations that this year we are doing, one with Memorial Auditorium, one with the City of Pittsburgh, and then one with different ensembles putting together a concert with nearly 200 people.
The festival runs from September 14th through October 19th, so mark your calendars now. This marks the 2nd year of the festival. Girard's Liberty Lights fireworks celebration lit up the night at the Crawford County Fairgrounds. Yesterday evening, families and friends gathered with lawn chairs to enjoy music, tasty treats from food trucks, and to browse craft vendors. Now, a slew of games beginning with turtle races and egg toss kicked off at 7 p.m. Girard Events partnered with the Chamber, the city, and a number of local groups to celebrate last night's community experience.
Just in order to get my name out there and kind of find my customer base, I branched out and started going to events and like this one. So I've been doing this for a few weeks now and it's been great fun. I met lots of people. Lots of people have been introduced to my cookies and yeah, we're doing pretty well.
The evening culminated with a spectacular red, white, and blue fireworks show. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Paramount has settled the lawsuit over President Trump's 60 Minutes interview, but no apology was given. Plus, the federal government drops a multi-million-dollar settlement with Navy Federal Credit Union. We'll have the details. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Morse Park, located in Neosho, Missouri. And Consumer Watch fireworks have been part of America's birthday celebrations since 1777. Now there's no domestic supply chain, and now the made in China pyrotechnics are subject to higher tariffs. Bradley Blackburn takes a look at how the import taxes could affect the annual patriotic spectacles.
Yahaira Casanova is stocking up to celebrate America's birthday with a bang.
We got Wicked, we got sparklers, we got Roman candles, which is more or less our favorite.
Business is booming at Phantom Fireworks in Matamoros, Pennsylvania, where shelves are stocked with more than 500 different kinds of fireworks, all of them with a Made in China label. According to the American Pyrotechnics Association, China produces 99% of consumer fireworks and 90% of professional displays as well.
Every year it seems like people want more and they want bigger.
Dan Peart is Director of Government Affairs for Phantom Fireworks. He says the company stopped production on orders from China when tariffs hit a whopping 145% in April. Now they're at 30%.
It hasn't impacted anything that we ordered, but we have reopened some of the products to start coming over again. Not everything, because frankly we don't need to.
Returning customer Eric Soares says he drops between $600 and $800 on his July 4th display.
I think the prices are about the same as last year, actually. And then even with the coupons, it makes it even better.
Customers might be spared the heat this year. Retailers usually order fireworks more than a year in advance. Then products made in the fall and winter are shipped well before Independence Day. Shoppers may notice a bump next year when the United States marks its 250th birthday. But the industry is lobbying for relief.
We are hopeful that fireworks will again be given an exclusion to the imports from China, same as they were in 2019.
Can you imagine the 4th of July without them?
No.
No.
It'd just be like a barbecue.
Customers here aren't curbing their spending, with the biggest single haul so far exceeding $10,000. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, Matamoros, Pennsylvania.
Well, breaking overnight, CBS News' parent company Paramount has agreed in principle to settle a case brought by President Donald Trump and a Texas congressman over edits to a 60 Minutes interview last year. In a statement, the company said the settlement does not include a statement of apology or regret, and that in the future, 60 Minutes will release transcripts of interviews with U.S. presidential candidates, though subject to redactions for national security concerns. The money will not go to the president directly, but will be used toward legal fees and a future presidential library. And the federal government is dropping its $95 million settlement with Navy Federal Credit Union. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau under the Biden administration had ordered the finance company to pay fines and refunds, claiming it charged illegal overdraft fees to service members and other customers. Now Navy Federal will no longer have to pay that money. The Trump administration did not explain why it dismissed the case in court filings. And from Bikini Bottom to your local post office, the U.S. Postal Service is dropping new forever stamps featuring the beloved characters of SpongeBob SquarePants on August 1st. Now to look at Consumer Watch this morning, here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got partly cloudy skies out there as we start our day. Temperatures are going to be heating up though, but today at least near normal. Then we start climbing above that. We're going to have a complete look at your forecast, talk about the 4th of July, some rain chances, and the other hot days ahead of us. And we will also celebrate birthdays and anniversaries when we come back. Time for some Wednesday birthdays in the 4 states, and we're going to start with Kaylin Frankenberry celebrating birthday number 20 today. Happy birthday.
And in Nevada, celebrating their 36th birthday today, a happy birthday to Trisha Pike.
And in Webb City, Courtney Seltzer celebrating birthday number 40 today. Happy birthday.
Making our way over to Fort Scott with a happy birthday to Adam Ballou, turning 45 today.
And in Erie, Jim and Lois O'Malley Carlson are celebrating their 59th wedding anniversary. A very happy anniversary to the Carlsons.
And continuing our list with a happy 69th birthday in Neosho to Bill Punch.
And in Farlington, Robert Noe celebrating another year wiser today. A very happy birthday and anniversary to all of you on our list. And if you would like to celebrate with us, and who wouldn't, by the way,
yes,
we have got some information that Elise has that she's going to share with you.
Yes, please submit your birthdays and your anniversaries to birthdays@komnewsnow.com. We sure love celebrating them with you. Now, be sure to include those wonderful photos and messages. To also please meet the deadline that you see there at the bottom of your screen, and to also include the date of your celebration when submitting as well.
Certainly very important information, and we have some very important weather information to go over with you. So we're going to start with this live look downtown Pittsburgh. Got some partly cloudy skies. So remember, we had it pointed back that way toward the sunrise, a little further east. Skies were clear. Now we point it back southeast, and the sky's not so clear, but still not bad at all. Got some sunshine out there. MoDOT camera 20th and range line in Joplin looking good as well. Getting some sunshine, getting folks on the road, getting ready to do their thing. And of course, for some of you, some of these folks perhaps even as they're commuting to work this morning, it's a short work week because, of course, we have the 4th of July holiday coming up. And so we also want to make sure that you celebrate responsibly and safely as well. You need to go back to work, 100% intact would be the best way to go. All right, fog, also a thing this morning. Not quite as widespread or as dense as what we saw yesterday, but we do have some very dense fog showing up now to the east of Bentonville, so eastern Benton County stretching into parts of McDonald and Berry counties. We have some denser fog out there. And we also have some patchy fog, Stockton back toward Nevada and around the Grand Lake area, including Grove, but nothing significant other than what we've got right down here in the eastern Benton County. But still, watch out. You never know. You could run into one of those little areas where you get some patchy, dense fog. So low beams, not your high beams. Slow down and just be prepared for any potentially rapidly changing visibility conditions. Visibility will be just fine as we head through the morning and into the afternoon. We're looking at partly cloudy skies. Winds are expected to be calm or at most light and variable. So a pretty decent day for us today, and we will stay dry today. By late afternoon, early evening, we'll start to get some clearing to take place, and we'll ultimately have clear skies overnight tonight. But as we end to Thursday, future track, it's interesting because it only shows this on Thursday, so we'll have to kind of wait and see exactly as it plays out. We're looking at pop-up storm chances over the next several days. We don't really have any specific triggers. We don't have any cold fronts, waves, anything like that. It's just the heating of the day and a little bit of that instability that builds up. But what's interesting is you can see pop-up storms, because that's exactly what future track is representing here, as early as 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. So we'll see exactly how that plays out. A little unusual, not impossible, but a little unusual. And then we get additional isolated to maybe even some scattered pop-up storms out there. Initially staying, it looks like, in our southern counties, but it will overspread the area. And also keep in mind with pop-up storms, because there's not specific triggers, and we've seen this happen more than once, just because, for example, southeast Kansas really didn't show any pop-up storms. That doesn't mean you couldn't see one tomorrow. Future Track's doing its best at guesstimating where pop-up storms might be, but they could really be just about anywhere across the area. We go into our Friday. Now, Friday Future Track and data also a little more in line with traditional pop-up storms, because it's about 11 a.m. noon, so we start to heat up. We get some southerly winds in there. We start to see some of those pop-up storms. A couple might try and get slightly organized, not expecting anything severe. Although occasionally, these pop-up storms can briefly turn low-grade severe, and then they fizzle out, but not expecting any kind of widespread severe. The good news is as you can see, as we head later into the evening for the 4th, pop-up storms look to be, of course, extraordinarily isolated, and as we lose the heating of the day, they'll even become more so. So we should be just fine for fireworks, but you want to make sure for your grill, your family, your friends, the fireworks at home, if you're not heading out, or even if you are heading out to an event, that you've got a dry place to go, just in case you get caught up underneath one of those pop-up storms. You don't want to get soaked. You don't want the food getting soaked. You don't want your fireworks getting soaked by any means. And of course, for communities or organizations planning fireworks shows for the 4th, just make sure you've got a way to maybe keep them dry if you can. Just in case one of those storms decides to roll overhead. Outside of that, though, we're going to start to look pretty good. Temperatures today near average. Tomorrow a little above average by noon, already into the mid to upper 80s out there. We're going to look at upper 80s and low 90s. Upper 80s, low 90s look to be the temperature trend over the next several days. So the good news is we won't be soaring above normal. And of course, the further we get into July, the higher up our average temperature will go. But we're not looking to be as hot as we can be sometimes, and as we have been in the past for the 4th of July, where we've seen, triple digits leading into the holiday. Not looking to be the case this go-around. For the 4th, already low mid-80s by noon, cruising right back up into the upper 80s and some low 90s out there. And as we head into Saturday, again, that trend will continue as well. We'll go back up into the upper 80s and some low 90s by Saturday afternoon for those highs. And pop-up storm chances, by the way, once they start tomorrow, they're on the forecast for the foreseeable future as well. We're going to start to see a bit of an increase in the humidity levels. So heat index values leading into the 4th could be into the mid to upper 90s. So you want to make sure if you're heading out that you stay hydrated, you're safe, you're smart, and just take care of yourself, friends, and family out there. All right, for today. Now see, we've got our camera at 7th and range line pointed back north. A little clearer out there. But you see off in the horizon some of those partly cloudy skies, and that's where we're going today. 70 by 8 o'clock this morning, low 80s by 11 a.m. We're going to have another look at your forecast and, of course, the news you need to know here in just a moment. And when we transition to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., or as we've mentioned, if you're streaming with us on KOAM Plus right now, you don't have to do a thing. You can just hang out with us. And we're going to tell you about a salon in Texas that's making it its mission to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to be pampered.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A serious rollover crash on Missouri 171 has put a person in the hospital. The crash happened about 7:40 yesterday morning. Troopers say a car left the road and struck a large MoDOT sign when it went up the embankment to the HH overpass. Now, the car struck concrete, then overturned as it came down the embankment. The driver was rushed to an area hospital with serious injuries. And authorities arrest Alex Vega of Joplin on Monday night on a bond arrest warrant in connection with the murder over a year ago. Prosecutors charged Vega with second-degree murder and armed criminal action for a March 2024 shooting. Vega is currently in the Jasper County Jail, held without bond. The Neosho community mourns the loss of former Chief of Police Jason Baird. Baird served the Neosho Police Department for nearly 30 years. The loss comes after Baird's recent retirement from the force. The department says details regarding memorial services will be shared as they become available. And that's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
As you head out the door, a reminder, some patchy fog out there. Temperatures today a bit warmer, but seasonably warm as we go into the upper 80s. Partly cloudy skies. Winds will be calm or light and variable. As we head into the evening, though, skies begin to clear out. Still around the mid-70s by 10. Lows tonight near normal. It's always nice to say that. Upper 60s, south winds 5 to 10. Start heating up, though, after that. So upper 80s, low 90s. Humidity levels will increase a bit, putting our heat index values into the mid to upper 90s. And then, of course, that gives us those pop-up storm chances. So, again, don't cancel your plans on the 4th. Just have a dry spot just in case. And number one thing, really, when thunder roars, head indoors.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making taco potato salad in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. TSA says nearly 20 million people are expected to fly over the next 7 days. Coming up, Chris Van Cleve goes inside the cockpit to see how pilots have been dealing with recent communication issues at the airports to ease your flying fears.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, Kansas strengthens its move over law after hundreds of roadside collisions.
Plus, James Cooper joins us in the studio for another Wildcat Wednesday. Honestly, that doesn't ease my flying fears. I probably still will never set foot in plane. I don't think it's going to happen. That's going to wrap it up for us for now, though. I will be here safely grounded, and both of us will be tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.